Good afternoon, this is Jeff with Sewer Tech Northwest. We are at 6124 Southeast 72nd Avenue here in Portland, located at the front of the house. I describe everything as if you're standing in the street facing the front of the home. So just barely to the left of the front door here, we've got a big 4-inch cast iron cleanout. You can't miss it. The cap spins off this thing like butter. It's a small miracle. Anyway, we're going to drop in here and check the overall condition and serviceability of the sanitary sewer line. We're going to introduce water to the line here in just a second. We're doing this one manually from the exterior here. And the bottom of the pipe is wet. Water's been down this thing recently. Anyway, starting out in cast iron pipe here. Zeroed out at the base of the clean out. We are now into 6-inch concrete. I might have to. I'm shading my screen right now with a couple umbrellas. The direction the sun's coming from is kind of rough right now. Okay, and that's kind of what I figured I was going to start seeing there. Some of the joints were looking a little suspect there. Concrete pipe at this juncture in time, and at this age, often the joints are wearing out and or are worn out. So we've had at least a couple root intrusions so far here. Got multiples of them, in fact. The plus side is that thus far the line has good slope and grade, and a couple spots here my camera's been upside down. That's why the water line's overhead. From the looks of it, I think someone's done a little bit of drain cleaning on this thing. That's why the roots are all very similar in size. But what's nice about that is it gives us a good look at the slope and grade of the line. We don't have anything impeding the flow line, where I start to question whether or not we've got standing water issues on top of roots. Anyway, the only reason that's an important factor in this day and age is the advent of all the trenchless repair systems that exist now. Both epoxy lining and pipe bursting both generally require a line that still has good slope and grade to do that kind of repair process. And this line so far looks like a candidate for both of those. I may not get past this last joint here. This thing's pretty beat up. But the way the line's swinging right now, this looks like the final turn. I've cambered over 25,000 sewer lines. Thousands and thousands of those are in Portland. And just about every sewer line of this day and age, right before it hits the main connection, makes a sweep like this. So we should be off into city territory at this point, out in the street. I'll go do some locating to verify that. But that piece of pipe there is so worn out, my camera's just going straight into a hole.
I am just going.
Alright, just got out on the road there, and I'm picking the signal up out near the middle of the street. So we're going to pull back to the street curb. It's a very, very busy road, so I'm going to try and focus all my locates on the from the curb back where the homeowner's responsible for the line. And what I would recommend looking into here, you know, you can do it however you want to. See if regular old trenching is cheaper, but I have a sneaking suspicion that something like a pipe burst on a line like this is probably going to end up being the more cost-effective way to go, even more so than epoxy lining. But it's worth looking at them all. We're still out past the curb right now. Now even here, we're still about 3 to 4 feet past the curb right now, so the nice part here is you don't have a ton of pipe to deal with that falls into homeowner responsibility. fact, I'll bet right here is the dive right about the curb. My locates are coming in a little bit funky right around where the curb is at. Where I did that locate just after the line dove down, and where I'm at here, my locates are coming in about a foot or so to the side. It's possible my locator's having some issues with the overhead power lines, so just be aware of that. I'm getting about 4 feet deep right here. My locate's coming in about a foot from the street curb. So it's knowing that it's not when I'm going to put strong depths down on the ground, but it's going to be in that ballpark. If my locate was latched onto the power lines, my locate would be indicating much, much deeper. So anyway, you'll see that when you walk out there. And I did notice that directly in line with the sewer line here at the sidewalk it looks like a newer replaced patch of concrete. That is a common scenario where you get concrete lines that are sucking dirt through the pipe joints. It'll cause hydro erosion over the top of the sewer and cause the sidewalk to become wonky. It's also potentially the roots that caused it too. I'm not sure which happened, but anyway, that patch there would appear to be essentially over top the line or very near it. And this locate, when I come back to this point here, lines up better with the locate I got in the street. So I'm going to go with this one, the one I got around the curb. I think I may have had some interference, but I'm getting around 3 foot 11 inches to 4 feet deep there, just prior to the curb. The line does some diving, obviously, once you get to the curb there, so you may be down closer to 5-6 feet by the time you actually hit the face of the curb there. Alright, this last marking here is going to be at the transition joint. I was about 3 feet deep there at 10 feet out. And right here, I'm about 2 foot 8 inches deep. So it's a very shallow sewer line. It's a little harder to gauge the exact depth at the face of the curb, just because the way the line dives there. Anytime I try to locate on a really hard slope like that, the locate signal often comes out a little funky. There are better locator systems for hard angles. But just guesstimating, assuming that dive happens prior to the curb, you're probably around 5.5 feet or so deep by the time you hit the face of the curb. So knowing that and how shallow this is, essentially, other than the sidewalk, a sidewalk square, the rest of the line is under grass and dirt. So this is one that would be worth looking into, both traditional repairs as well as something like a pipe burst, to see which shakes out the cheapest. This is one where the traditional repair actually may end up coming in the cheapest just because of the ease of access getting to the sewer line. So it's from around 5 to approximately, I'm going to say 25 feet. So it's about a 20-foot section or so, give or take a foot or two, that I would recommend updating. And this is one I would highly recommend repairing. You have a lot of roots going on here. Otherwise, a little bit of cast iron we just saw there. That stuff is doing its job still. It's in good shape. And make sure a rescope is performed after any repairs are completed, to check the work. And you want to do that repair after any, or I'm sorry, that rescope after any, after the trenches are closed, to look for any settling issues that could occur. And that mostly is important for the sidewalk area. If we catch settling problems under the dirt, it's no big deal. You just don't want to have the line settle on you after you poured concrete and have to dig it back up again.